Swaps. Andy, you're coming and eat a beer for you.
It's a video.
A murder mystery playing out in San Antonio, and a child is in limbo as search teams look for the body of Andreen McDonald. Her mother now left taking care of her granddaughter.
What you have to say for yourself?
What's for dinner?
What's going on here?
What's that stink?
What's this for?
What time is it? What's that?
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Welcome to Watson's World, your gateway to the gripping world of true crime. I'm Kevin Watson. Today, prepare yourselves for a Texas-sized thriller with a side of Jamaican spice. We have seen our fair share of juicy murder stories involving love gone wrong, possessive partners, and secret affairs. But trust me, this one's about to take you on a roller coaster ride of jaw-dropping surprises. Some of you may already be familiar with this case, which incidentally shares similarities with an ongoing court trial in Jamaica involving Andreen McDonald, also known as Beachy Stout. However, today we'll be focusing solely on the case at hand. If you're curious about Beachy Stout's case, you can follow its progress online through sources like the Jamaica Gleaner or Jamaica Observer, or explore my videos on my channel dedicated to Beachy Stout case. So without further ado, let's fasten our seatbelts and dive right in. Have you got your popcorn, cup of tea, or coffee ready? Excellent. When 29-year-old Andreen McDonald vanished into thin air, the question on everyone's lips was, who done it? And oh boy, the answer wasn't exactly a riddle wrapped in mystery. Her husband, Andre, kicked things off playing the classic game of hide and seek with the truth, claiming he had no clue about his wife's whereabouts. Then he took a vow of silence that could rival a monk's and sent investigators scrambling. It's like he's been taking notes from mystery novels. Now, isn't that intriguing? Why would an innocent man suddenly go mute when his beloved wife vanishes without a trace? But it doesn't stop there, my friends. Andre, well, let's just say he's a man with a plan. While everyone's searching for his missing wife, he's busy making his best impression of a human bulldozer, clearing every trace in his path. In other words, he's busy covering his tracks. It's almost as if he's been reading a manual on how to baffle investigators 101. But hold on to your hats, because when he finally spilled the beans, the story he served up was a dish we never ordered. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details of this twisted tale, let's take a journey back in time to where it all began. The beautiful sunny island of Jamaica. Andre McDonald and Andreen Anderson's love story began in 2009 in the heart of Jamaica, under the Caribbean sun. Both hailed from the land of reggae and jerk chicken. Now picture this. Andre graduates from high school, hops on a plane, and lands in the land of alligators and Disney World, Florida, USA, to be with his mother. He then educates himself in the fine art of electrical engineering, courtesy of Florida International University. After walking the graduation runway, in his cap and gown, he decided it was time to add a little military flair to his resume. Yes, sir, officer training was on the menu. Meanwhile, our leading lady, Andreen, who was a mere 10 years younger, hopped on a plane too, because that's how you follow true love across the seas. The two lovebirds tied the knot faster than you can say, I do. And they were off to a fresh start in the land of the Lone Star State, Texas. After the wedding bells rang, Andre's military gig shuffled him off to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. These early years of wedded bliss had everyone convinced they were the poster couple for matrimonial success.
Come like swaps. Andy, you come like disappear for you.
Woo! No bother me there. No more real puppy show. That's right. Woo! No, sir, Jockey wants to know one here. One squad.
Andreen, not one to sit still, aced her studies at the University of Texas at San Antonio and had a bundle of joy named Elena. Oh, and did I mention they ventured into the world of business, specifically home health care? They opened not one, but several care facilities.
Andreen McDonald, Starlight Homes, Assisted Living, Minority Rising Star, Firm of the Year. Andreen operates 2 assisted living homes whose residents range in age from 56 to 100 years young. Services are provided to those who value their freedom and independence but desire high-quality care and value in a home secure setting.
It was a real family affair. Even Andreen's mom, Hyacinth Maureen Smith, flew in from Jamaica to join the party. She played a key role in the household, looking after Elena and clocking in at one of their care homes. Talk about all in the family operation. Those were the days when the term close-knit couldn't have been more fitting. Back then, the family wasn't just close, they were a bona fide dream team. Okay, peeps, make sure your seatbelts are fastened tight because we're about to uncover a tale so twisty it will make your head spin faster than a Jamaican dancehall beat. So keep listening. In the exciting year of 2019, their daughter Elena was a mere 6 years old, keeping the McDonalds on their toes. While Andre had scored himself a promotion to the rank of Major in the United States Air Force back in 2016, he pulled a tactical move, transferring to reserve duty to keep his boots firmly planted in San Antonio. Andreen, on the other hand, was the captain of the ship, steering their million-dollar business through the waves of success. Their empire was booming, and they had their sights set on opening even more locations. But then, on that fateful morning of March 1st, 2019, things took a seriously unexpected turn. Andreen pulled a disappearing act, failing to clock in for work or pick up her phone. Now cue the worry train. Carol, who happened to be a close friend of Andreen's, was understandably concerned. Here's the kicker. Carol was actually a competitor in the assisted living industry. But in this curious world, rivals can make the best pals. They teamed up most mornings. So when Andreen went missing in action, Carl, along with 2 of Andreen's work buddies, decided to swing by the McDonald family crib in North Bexar County for a little investigative action. Here's where things start to get seriously eerie. No one was home, but Carol's spidey senses were tingling. Out back, she stumbled upon a peculiar sight. Ashes scattered on the walkway. It was like a DIY bonfire had gone wrong. Oh, and what's this? A rogue zipper among the remnants? Why on earth would Andre and Andreen be roasting their clothes? Carol had a vivid flashback to a chilling conversation with her buddy. Andreen once said, "If I ever go missing, it will be because Andre killed me." Goosebumps? Anyone? Someone in her inner Sherlock Holmes, Carol ventured inside through an open back door. And boy, did she stumble onto a scene straight out of a thriller flick. A telltale blood smear adorned a light switch in the bathroom. A quick-thinking Carol snapped a picture with her phone. At this point, she reached out to a detective friend who dropped some wisdom. Call Andreen's mom and then dial up the sheriff's office. Enter Maureen, Andreen's mom. She decided to meet Carol at the house, confirming that Andreen had gone off the radar since the previous evening. Everything was there: the cell phone, the keys, the purse, even the cars she usually drove were chilling in the driveway. The one thing missing, Andre himself, of course. Now, you would think that this is where the curtain drops. But hold on to your hats. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office gets the call from Carl and Maureen, and they're in for a wild ride. The deputy they send over starts to put the puzzle pieces together. Freshly cleaned carpets in the master bedroom, check. Bloodstains on the light switch, bathroom floor, and internal doorway, check, check, check. Oh, and don't forget the cherry on top. A Chevy Malibu in the garage with a suspicious dent above the trunk and a coat of country road gravel on the tires. Odd. You bet you. The car had been on quite the joyride. Now, as I've always said, hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to dive into the thrilling developments of this mind-boggling case. So keep listening, keep watching. Now imagine this. Andre McDonald rolls up to his own house while the sheriff's deputy is conducting his Sherlock Holmes routine. With the grace of a seasoned poker player, Andre nonchalantly explains that he had just popped over to the Baptist Emergency Hospital to check on his wife. Nothing to see here, right? Wrong. A quick phone call to the hospital left everyone in shock. His wife was nowhere in sight, and the hospital had no record of her. The jig was up. Andre finally fessed up to the truth, revealing that he and Andreen had a heated argument the night before, and he had no idea where she had vanished to.
Andreen McDonald is a wonderful human being who is like an angel here on earth.
She is a wonderful person, and I just do hope that she does come back to us safely.
We believe that Andreen McDonald is no longer living.
The disappearance of a San Antonio mother, business owner, and philanthropist has since garnered global attention.
Law enforcement didn't waste any time, promptly detaining Andre, who, in classic TV fashion, requested a lawyer and zipped his lips shut. Meanwhile, those eerie bloodstains found on the light switch and bathroom floor, well, they weren't just any stains. They matched Andreen McDonald's DNA. Talk about a smoking gun. But wait, there's more. Andre had been playing a slick game of cat and mouse. Turns out he had indeed swung by the Baptist Emergency Hospital just before heading back home, but not for the reasons he claimed. Brendan Garden, the hospital clerk on duty, spilled the beans. Andre rushed in, claiming he was looking for his wife. Brendan, ever the diligent clerk, asked for the name, and when he mentioned there was an African-American woman with the name McDonald being treated, Andre's reaction? He stared off into space, darted for the exit, and bolted. Surprise, surprise, the woman in the hospital wasn't Andreen McDonald. As if things weren't bizarre enough, the plot thickened. Andre was released from the Bexar County Sheriff's Office on the morning of March 2nd. But here's where it gets really juicy. For the next 12 hours, he turned into a one-man whirlwind. Security cameras at a Lowe's hardware store captured Andre's every move. He loaded up a shopping cart with an eclectic mix of items fit for real-life MacGyver. There was a shovel, an axe, gloves, and to top it all off, 2 5-gallon gas containers. Payment time? Well, he split it into 2 transactions. Debit card for one, cold hard cash for the other. But wait, there's more. Andre didn't stop there. He made a pit stop at a Shell gas station. Now remember, this isn't your average gas run. Andre pulled up to a specific pump, number 20, just out of sight of the cameras. What did he do? He went all out, filling those brand new gas containers to the brim with roughly 9.7 gallons of fuel. It was a puzzling, chilling series of moves, my friends. And the big question remains, what was Andre cooking up? A deputy tasked with keeping an eye on the McDonald residence after Andre's release rolls up and finds the garage door ripped from its tracks. It's like something out of an action movie. And that's not all. Our deputy becomes a silent shadow, tailing Andre as he leaves the house. Where does Andre lead our deputy sleuth? None other than Nichols' gun shop. Andre strolls in with all the swagger of a seasoned spy and proceeds to buy a firearm, complete with what can only be described as an impressive mountain of ammunition. But here's where things get truly strange. Out of nowhere, Andre does a 180 and ditches his entire shopping spree. He leaves the gun, the ammo, and even his ID behind, just walking out like he'd forgotten to buy milk. Deputies lurking outside pounced on him as he exits the shop. It's clear something isn't quite right. And they're worried about Andre's mental state. Was he planning on doing something even more sinister? As if to add to the oddity, they spot cuts and other marks on his hands. His explanations for these injuries, well, let's just say they were as clear as mud. But the surprises don't stop there, my friends. Back at the Solitude Cove residence, deputies make a hair-raising discovery. Lo and behold, in the back of the Porsche Macan, registered to Andreen, they find a shovel. The catch? It wasn't there during their initial sweep of the house during the welfare check. Alarm bells ringing, the sheriff's team decides it's time to dig deeper. Literally. They secure a search warrant and head back inside. Keep in mind, during this whole ordeal, nobody had eyes on Andre for roughly 12 hours, from his departure from the station to his bizarre gun shop escapade. The plot thickens further as the Bexar County Sheriff's Office crime scene investigation team steps into the picture. Inside the vehicles Andre had been driving over the past couple of days, they uncover a chilling collection. In the Malibu's backseat, there's a hatchet, chilling out on the car floor. In the trunk, a roll of black plastic stares back at them. along with 2 lighters nestled in the console. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The Porsche Macan holds an inventory that could rival a horror movie prop room. There's a box packed with heavy-duty plastic garbage bags, a full-sized axe, a petite hatchet, and a pair of work gloves. But here's where it gets really spine-tingling. Inside a white plastic bag, they discovered a well-worn claw hammer. And to make matters even more ominous, this hammer has a little something extra: blood. In a trash can nearby, deputies find 2 shredded receipts, accounting for most of these items, all stamped with a seal of purchase from Lowe's hardware store. Ladies and gentlemen, this chilling tale takes a more sinister turn as we delve further into the abyss. It's like a thriller where the suspense is unbearable. Picture this. All those recently purchased items, the axe, the gloves, the plastic, they hadn't been put to use. But they were neatly packed in the vehicle as if Andre was gearing up for something ominous. However, one item stood out like a glaring red flag. The hammer. It was dirty, and worse, it was stained with blood. Testing confirmed what our gut had already been telling us. The blood belonged to Andreen McDonald. It was as if the pieces of this dark puzzle was falling into place, painting a horrifying picture. A day after Andreen was reported missing, Andre was formally cuffed, slapped with charges of tampering with evidence. The authorities minced no words.
It led us to believe that these were implements that were going to be used to dispose of a body, quite obviously to us, which really tends to drive home the point to us that we believe that Andreen McDonald is no longer living.
The writing was on the wall, and the situation was becoming grimmer by the minute. As the sun set on that gloomy day, a massive search operation sprang into action. Local volunteers, the military, the FBI, and local law enforcement descended upon the Bexar County countryside like an army. They scoured the rough terrain on horseback, ATVs, and on foot, covering miles upon miles of land outside San Antonio. Each area they cleared was one step closer to uncovering the truth. Though progress was painstakingly slow, while the search parties combed the land day in and day out, Andre McDonald's situation took an odd twist. His bail was reduced due to limited evidence, and he was released, although he was placed under house arrest.
The prosecution is providing us with discovery on the event, on the tampering with evidence. We told the judge that everything is just going well in that regard.
But here's the kicker. He didn't lift a finger to join the search efforts for his missing wife.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would I make any efforts if I already know she's dead? Like, I'm not going to go out in the field and pretend and do some charade or something, like pretending going out doing fake searches with people and passing out files. Why would I do any of that? That's a screw up on top of what already happened.
Suspicion was thickening, and the spotlight was squarely on him. As the investigation unfolded, it took an unexpected turn. Investigators dug into the state of Andre and Andreen's marriage, and what they uncovered was a potential motive. You see, Andreen was the woman in charge of the day-to-day operations of their booming business, which had ballooned into 3 assisted living homes with a 4th in the pipeline. The company's worth, a staggering $1 billion. The plot was thickening, and the business empire was about to become a central piece of this bewildering puzzle. All right, listen up. The tension in the McDonald marriage had been simmering for years, and it was far from a picture-perfect relationship. The storm clouds had gathered back in 2016 when Andre returned from 6 months of Air Force training in Alabama. Upon his return, he found a chilling shift in the atmosphere at home. While he was away, Andreen had sent him a message, a digital bolt from the blue, instructing him not to return to the house. When he did make his way back, he stumbled upon 2 new tattoos adorning Andreen's skin. One was an infinity symbol. But what really sent chills down his spine was the letter A, nestled in its heart. The second tattoo bore a date. Those tattoos were far from ordinary. They held a dark secret. The A in the symbol didn't stand for Andre, nor did it stand for Andreen. It was a grim reminder of Andreen's ex-boyfriend, Abin, a man Andre described as a local gang leader and drug dealer they had known in Jamaica. Abin himself had a matching tattoo on his chest, and the date on Andreen's wrist, well, that was Abin's birthday. The message was clear as day. Old flames still burned. Andre decided to file for divorce, as under Texas community property laws, each spouse would walk away with a clean 50% of everything. That was the plan until 2017, when Andreen managed to convince Andre to halt the divorce proceedings. While they didn't fully reconcile, hostilities simmered down, and they continued to co-parent and manage their blossoming business. But as fate would have it, the beginning of 2019 saw the rekindling of old flames and old tensions. Andreen had returned from a trip to Jamaica, where her affair with Abin had reignited like a wildfire. The couple clashed over her desire to return to Jamaica, presumably to be with Abin once more. The marriage, it seemed, was a powder keg waiting to explode. Andre's suspicions grew as days passed. He began to believe that Andreen didn't just want to be with Abin, but that she also aimed to take the business all for herself and to share it with her boyfriend.
No way you can legally have business assets with a spouse and then get a divorce and not have half go to one spouse and half go to the other one. So in my opinion, the only way she was going to get everything to go share with a boyfriend, they had to have been planning get me whacked when I went to Jamaica.
Fast forward to July 11th, 2019. 5 long months after Andreen had been reported missing. Clifton Clint, a local farmer on Spectre Road, stumbled upon a gruesome scene as he set out to fetch a cow's head for a yard decoration. A foul odor pricked his senses, and as he approached the cow bones, he made a grisly discovery. Human remains mingling with the animal's skeletal remains. Clifton wasted no time and dialed the sheriff's office at approximately 7:30 p.m. The farm lay less than 10 miles from the McDonald residence. The sheriff described this as ground zero.
This is actually quite literally ground zero for the search for Andreen McDonald. Our mounted patrol was up and down this road searching. These remains that were found this time, of course, it's too early to tell whether they're those of a male or a female.
In the search for Andreen McDonald, despite search parties combing the vicinity, they had been unable to access the privately owned property until now. The remains were concealed beneath a pile of wood and the bones of a deceased cow. With an unsettling detail, they had been set on fire. It was a sinister twist in the tale. The moment many had been dreading came when the Bexar County Sheriff Office confirmed the discovery of Andreen McDonald's body. With this grim revelation, the last puzzle piece slotted into place. Andre McDonald was arrested outside his home and slapped with a first-degree murder indictment. The conclusion to this harrowing tale had finally arrived. Hold on to your seats because the trial of Andre McDonald is a roller coaster ride like no other. There were numerous delays, including the infamous COVID pandemic, which pushed the trial's start date to early 2023.
Chinese health authorities are still working to identify the virus behind a pneumonia outbreak in the central city of Wuhan.
At least 59 people are believed to have been sickened by the new virus.
Tonight, U.S. airports on high alert, screening passengers for symptoms of a deadly new virus.
Throughout this time, Andre had been the very picture of silence. He hadn't uttered a word to the police since those early days of his wife's mysterious disappearance. But then, just 3 days before the trial was set to begin, the plot took a shocking turn. In a jaw-dropping, eye-bulging twist, Andre picked up the phone and made a call that left everyone stunned. He dialed his former mother-in-law and confessed to the unthinkable. He had killed his wife. His reason? He claimed he wanted to be honest with them. According to Andre, during a heated argument, Andreen had attacked him, pushing him into a corner where he had no choice but to fight back. In the struggle, she fell, and 2 kicks he delivered while she was on the ground must have inadvertently caused her to asphyxiate. He insisted it wasn't his intention to take her life. Andre wanted Maureen, his former mother-in-law, to hear his version of events before the world heard it during the trial. His defense, he would argue that he was not guilty due to self-defense. The trial opened with Maureen taking the stand, testifying about the shocking phone call she received from Andre just days earlier. She recounted the tragic sequence of events as he had described them, detailing the argument, the fall, and his actions after the incident. It was a haunting narrative, and the courtroom hung on her every word. Dr. James, a forensic pathologist from the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office, took the stand next. His testimony was chilling. He confirmed that Andreen's cause of death was homicidal violence, including blunt force trauma. When questioned about whether he could rule out asphyxiation as the cause, he admitted there was no definitive answer. The sad reality was that there was very little left of her remains to provide further detail. Dr. James painted a grim picture, explaining the uncertainty surrounding the case due to the limited remains. When asked if the trauma could be consistent with being struck by a claw hammer, he nodded in agreement. The doctor detailed several injuries, including fractures on her spine, charring on her finger bones, and a fractured jaw that, in his expert opinion, was not solely caused by a stump, as Andre had suggested. It was clear that Andre had taken extreme measures to conceal evidence related to Andreen's remains. She had been hidden away for months, and the fact that her bones had been set on fire was beyond dispute. The hammer found in his home was either a murder weapon or a tool used after the fact, casting a grim shadow over this chilling case. The trial of Andre McDonald had opened a Pandora's box of horrors, and the courtroom was left grappling with the grim realities of this dark tale. Ladies and gentlemen, Prepare to enter the mind of Andre McDonald as we dissect his digital footprints. His search history on his phone became a revealing window into his growing concerns about the evidence stacked up against him. The court couldn't help but listen in as Andre's phone data was laid bare, with his searches read aloud for all to hear. Andre's searches include: can someone fall and break their neck? Fingerprints, how long do fingerprints last? DNA outdoors, how long does blood last for testing? How long does DNA last for testing? Best surfaces for fingerprints. Fingerprints on bones. How long do bones take to become dry and brittle? Is Austin humid? Is Texas humid? DNA decay in humid weather. Why does breaking someone's neck kill them? No, the courtroom was on the edge of its seats as Andre himself took the stand to testify in his own defense. The defense called Major Andre McDonald to the witness box. Andre began by recounting the events leading up to the tragic incident. He explained that an argument had erupted and things took a deadly turn when Andreen attacked him. In self-defense, he claimed he had taken action that ultimately proved fatal.
So as soon as she fell, it was like a reaction, so I landed like a couple of kicks.
More than a couple or a couple?
I'd say probably like about a couple.
And right at that moment, what happened?
So when she got the second kick, I think I heard like some type of wheezing, coming out of her. And then also, like in the background, I could hear like some footsteps running. And at that point, I was like, oh shit, Elena. So I ran out of the bathroom towards the living room area. And then I saw like Elena, like she was somewhere close to the stairs, back at the front. So I ran towards Elena and picked her up. And we went upstairs. And then I was trying to get her back to bed.
He admitted to driving Andreen out in the countryside and leaving her in a field near the remains of a deceased cow. When asked about his actions, he confessed.
When you put the body there, what did you do?
So at that time, I took the bags off. I was just going to leave it there. And for some reason, I don't remember why, but I just had this weird idea to probably should just take the clothes. So I took the clothes and threw them in the bag and then went back in the car and went home.
But this case wasn't as straightforward as it seemed. The prosecution had their own narrative to present. They argued that Andre had meticulously planned his wife's murder, pointing to the items he had purchased at Lowe's, his incriminating online searches, and the bloodied hammer as evidence of premeditation. Moreover, they highlighted that Andre had not dialed 911 after the altercation with his wife, nor had he sought medical assistance for her. Instead, he had taken deliberate steps to conceal her death and dispose of her remains. The defense, on the other hand, had a different story to tell. They insisted that Andre had acted out of self-defense. They emphasized that Andreen had been the aggressor and Andre had merely responded in kind. They argued that the evidence didn't reveal premeditation but rather painted a picture of panic and confusion on Andre's part. The courtroom was now a battleground of opposing narratives, and the fate of Andre McDonald hung in the balance. In their closing arguments, the prosecution honed in on the questionable aspects of Andre's narrative. They spotlighted Andre's supposed fear of Andreen's physical prowess.
So when she was attacking me, I was basically just trying to defend myself. And I guess probably like a normal situation, you probably like, if someone's like a lot smaller than you, it's not a big deal. You probably just hold them. But since she's, she's bigger than I am, she's pretty strong. So trying to hold her to restrain her or some shit like that, it's probably not feasible. So I just gave her a few kicks, like a couple of kicks to like knock the wind out of her and get her to stop.
These kicks, are they wind up kicks of somebody, or are they all part of the movement of what's going on?
It's just like sort of like in the movement, because like when you flip, you got a leg behind you and you just whip it and then you whip the next one.
You heard what his side of the story was. He's afraid of this superwoman that's so much bigger and stronger at him. Yet in the two interactions they have, he headbutts her and opens her up. And then the second one, she's running at him and he does some type of judo move, gets her on the ground, does two kicks, he doesn't know where, and suddenly she's dead. It's not reasonable. And his story is not reasonable. And that's why self-defense doesn't apply, because it's a murder case.
The jury's deliberation were marked by uncertainty, with moments of deadlock. However, after 14 long hours of discussion, they finally reached a unanimous decision. The verdict delivered a surprise. Andre McDonald was found guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter rather than the more severe murder charge. This outcome left the prosecution, the Bexar County Sheriff Office, and Andreen's family disappointed. During the sentencing, Judge Castro took note of Andre's apparent lack of remorse and compassion throughout the trial. He observed Andre's detachment and lack of emotion, even when confronted with gruesome evidence. The judge highlighted Andre's interest in the bone evidence, which contrasts sharply with his dispassionate demeanor. This contributed to the judge's decision to impose the maximum sentence of 20 years with an additional 5 years for the tampering with evidence charge. Custody of Elena was awarded to her grandmother, Hyacinth Maureen Smith. Elena's poignant letter, read during the sentencing hearing, conveyed her profound sense of loss and the lasting impact of her father's action. As the case concluded, it revealed a disturbing pattern of violence within the McDonald family, with Everton McDonald, Andre's father, also facing legal troubles. Everton McDonald, also called Beaches Stout, is currently on trial for allegedly hiring a hitman to kill his wife, Tonya Hamilton McDonald, in 2020, as well as being accused of murdering his first wife, Marlene, in 2009. As the saying goes, like father, like son. Andre, not one to accept his fate, filed an appeal of his manslaughter conviction only 4 months after sentencing. His legal team contested various issues with the evidence presented during the trial, setting the stage for a protracted legal battle. And so, the case of Andre and Andreen McDonald came to a close, but the question and the search for answers linger. Guys, this is where I finish this story. As per usual, if you find this story interesting, please comment down below. If this is the first time you are visiting this channel, go ahead and click on the subscription button. Also click on the notification bell so that you'll be alerted every time I upload a new video. You can follow me on X, Instagram, and Facebook at The Noble Cop. You can also reach out to me via email at thenoblecop@gmail.com. Until next time, my beautiful people, walk good.